software works. I'm not that much of a live streamer, but I thought I would try it out just to make this video after such a long time of not making one. And also considering that I had so many things that I wanted to share with you guys about what's been happening in the past few months. And these things have namely been many, countless things that have meant like big changes in my life, change of perspective, change of approach, change of state of mind, really. So let's start with an introduction of what things were like before these changes started to occur. As I mentioned in my videos, I was struggling with various things, because depression and a feeling of helplessness, and I didn't really know what to do um, with my life in order for me to gain some control again over my body and my symptoms. So I was really sort of hopeless. Um, However, I decided to do something about this when I finally recognized that I'm not doing well. I need to do something about it. I have a doctor, so maybe I should mention this to my doctor. So I did. This started first as a coincidence because I had an appointment with a doctor to talk about my blood tests, to see when my next infusion had to be, and so on. And as we were there discussing the blood tests, that showed that apparently I don't need to have a new infusion, even though it's been more than 6 months, more like 7 to 8 months, because my lymphocytes are still at zero, which means that there's no need for another infusion just yet. Uh, After which I mentioned to the doctor that I was really not doing well. I was feeling depressed, and my symptoms felt like they were getting worse. And I said that in a way that wasn't really just complaining. I, I think I expressed quite clearly, got my message across quite clearly that this was more than just complaining. This was really something that needed some attention. So I mentioned to the doctor that, well, my walking had gotten worse, um, and also I mentioned to the neurologist that I was really starting to suffer very much because of the fact that I could not have a whole night's sleep without being interrupted to go to the bathroom 2 or 3 times every single night. And lastly, I also mentioned to the doctor that my hand tremors were starting to become very debilitating in my daily activities. So I think the key word that triggered a reaction in the neurologist was saying that it was debilitating and that I couldn't lead a normal daily life. So after mentioning this to the doctor, they referred me to a rehabilitation specialist. I'm not really sure what the exact title of that doctor is, but so I was sent over to this doctor 2 weeks later. So I went to the appointment and repeated once again all the symptoms to this doctor. So the first solution that this rehabilitation doctor suggested was giving me some pills to control my bladder, my urinary frequency at night. And so I started taking them straight away. But also, the doctor sent me over to rehab, and rehab of two different types. One was physical rehab, and the other one was a lifestyle rehab. So, as I said, went back home, took my first pills to reduce my urinary frequency, and well, a week later, I started to notice that they were having an effect, and the number of times that I had to get up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom were slowly starting to become less. So from 3 times a night to 2 to 1 to none. And then, yes, as I said, then I was referred to a physical rehab specialist, which I went to. I think the appointment was like 2 weeks later. And I was given some exercises to stretch my muscles and to sort of address the tremors in my legs, to address the spasms in my legs and my thighs that made it increasingly difficult for me to get out of bed in the morning. So these exercises were something that the specialist told me to do every morning, ideally before getting out of bed. As I already mentioned in a previous video, these exercises were something that could very easily be incorporated into a yoga sequence, which is something that I am still trying to figure out how to do ideally in a way that's going to be most all-encompassing and reduce the number of, the time I have to spend on these exercises, because otherwise it's too much time, and unfortunately I do not possess such time. So then the next appointment was with a lifestyle rehab specialist, and this type of rehab is something that I was not aware of existed previously, but it's basically a specialist that guides you in how to adapt your lifestyle so that you reduce as much as possible the amount of energy you have to spend on, small little meaningless daily activities, really, such as tying your shoes, preparing your breakfast, showering, what else? Well, in my case, reducing my tremors when I have to eat and use the cutlery. So they provided me with some tools that I will show you in a little bit. I'm just going to finish telling you the whole sequence of the treatments that I received. Another thing that the rehab doctor suggested that I do was get some Botox injections in my thighs and my calves in order to reduce the tremors, both when walking or when exercising or whatnot. So I went to get these Botox injections, and I was pretty excited and nervous about it because I had no idea what that would feel like. But I'm pleased to announce already now, before you guys start freaking out, that it was completely painless. I couldn't even feel the needle. I couldn't even feel the Botox being injected. So after leaving the consultation, went back home, was told that it was very important to do these stretching exercises rigorously. So I did. And they said that the Botox would have an effect after 2 weeks. So when did I notice that it was having an effect? Well, I noticed it when I went to the cinema, watched a movie that lasted 3 hours, 3 hours of me not getting up from the seat, not even once, because obviously, as I said, the urinary frequency pills were helping already, so I didn't have to get up once in 3 hours to go use the bathroom, which was wonderful. Anyway, so I got up from my seat after 3 hours, and I realized that I was able to just stand up from the seat and walk away, walk out of the cinema. Whereas otherwise, I would have had to hold on to my partner, hold on to the seat, because I wasn't able to walk before my legs had sort of, relaxed a little bit. So that was a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And then after that. I made notes because so many events happened. Right. So back to the tremors in my hands. I returned to a neurologist and said that despite these rehab exercises, my tremors had not gotten any worse, and despite the adaptational tools that I had been suggested, the tremors were still pretty debilitating. So the neurologist prescribed me some beta blockers. They said that I had to, adjust the dosage gradually until I found the perfect dosage that helped and that managed to finally reduce my tremors. Well, guess what? After initially taking the lowest dosage, I noticed a slight improvement, but not much. So then I increased it, and I increased it again, and so on, until I did finally find the dosage that suits me best. And I can say now, well, the tremors are not gone, far from it, but I can say that I can confidently use my hands now, and I can peacefully use cutlery to eat, peacefully apply beauty products on my face, peacefully do things that, I would have had accidents with previously. So that was a huge relief. So, as I said, I was going to show you the tools that were recommended to me by the physical rehab specialists, and one of them was this weighted wrist cuff thing that is very cumbersome, really, if you think about it. But basically, I have to strap it on, wrap it around, and this is 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds of weight, which, thanks to this weight, reduces, the freedom the tremors have to show themselves. So when things are really bad, I will put this on, and usually when I'm eating, using cutlery, put this on, and then confidently be able to use the fork again. This, even while taking beta blockers, as I said, they don't completely eradicate the tremors. So there are times when I still need to put this on. But it is a wonderful, wonderful thing that there is a tool to make it better. And this is something that I simply didn't know was available. Another thing that the lifestyle rehab specialist showed me, I'm going to take these off to show you. I just put these today, these shoelaces, because of tremors and because of the lack of coordination or whatever, I found myself having difficulties tying my shoelaces, which made getting out of the house increasingly complicated. I often ended up getting out of the house in sandals just because tying the shoelaces was too difficult. Basically, this is what they suggested. Look at these. I got them in rainbow colors just because I thought they were pretty, like this. But basically, these are elastic shoelaces that you put one by one in every one of the holes. And this is it. I mean, you just put your feet in it, and they're elastic. So you just stretch them, put your feet in, then release. And then your foot is secured. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So it's just changed my perspective on my symptoms completely. Just as I thought that there was nothing that could be done to make my life easier or improve my daily activities by reducing the amount of effort and suffering, really, that I had to experience through all of these small, meaningless activities. That is a huge improvement to my life. So I see that you guys have been writing plenty of comments. I'm looking forward to reading them all. So Claudio, hello Claudio, and hi Brazil. Going to Brazil in a month, so that's exciting. Do I suffer more when it's hot? Well, I do, in a different way though. When it's cold, it's winter here now, so when it's cold, the tremors become much more evident. And that is why this became such an urgent topic for me to address with my doctor, because the cold makes me shake uncontrollably. So I don't know. I don't know if I prefer heat or cold. Heat makes me exhausted. So I don't know. In the end, I don't know. It's just both of them are bad, I'm gonna say. Uh, '07 Broly, you'll have physical, speech, and occupational rehab therapy this week for the first time. Well, congratulations. I really hope that that's going to help you just as much as it has helped me. Speech therapy, that's something that we could all benefit from, whether you have MS or not. And I know you guys cannot notice it right now because I'm speaking very articulately, but I do make sure to save my energy in order for me to be able to speak. But I do suffer from speech problems as well, especially later at night or when I'm tired or in the morning. So eventually I would like to get some speech therapy as well. Sophie, long time. Hello, it is so good to see and hear from you. Likewise, Sophie. It's a pleasure to be back on my platform and glad to be here reconnecting with you guys. Jane, you were diagnosed on the 19th of December. Sorry to hear that. If you need some guidance, if you want to ask me any questions, feel free to reach out. I will do whatever I can to appease your feelings and make you feel better about it. '07 Broly, okay, you have an issue with heat tolerance. My body seems to produce too much heat when I try to exercise. I know. I experience the same. And when I exercise, I start to see double. I cannot walk. I cannot coordinate my movements. But this being said, very important that you try to find a type of exercise and an intensity of exercise that is suitable to you and that doesn't cause you to suffer too much from these symptoms while exercising, because exercise is everything for MS. Thomas Railton, hello Seb. First of all, massive thank you for the content you're putting out. Hearing about your experiences is a great help to a lot of people. Well, Thomas, thank you for thanking me. I've got to say that it's really my pleasure, and it's a mission that I've taken to heart, and that is so meaningful to me, to share my experiences, just in order for me to be able to share from my experiences and to help you should you encounter similar experiences, because there's nothing more important than feeling that you have someone listening to you and understanding what you're going through when you're living with an illness like MS. It's a very lonely illness. Jane, please, if you can keep up the videos. You're from Brixham in Devon in the UK. I will keep up the videos, Jane. Worry not. Kirat Pal, I have numbness issue I want to ask. Well, Kirat, please do leave a comment. Explain what your numbness issues are about, and I will try to give you some answers. Sophie, have you heard of the show The West Wing by Aaron Sorkin? Without giving too much away, there is a character with MS, and I was wondering if you would be interested in watching. Well, Sophie, yes, I know. I've heard of this character with MS. I have never seen the show, but I do have it on my list, which makes me think of Christina Applegate, who is also recently, who has also recently come out as having been diagnosed with MS. So thank you, Christina, for putting a voice on giving us, the MS community, a voice. And you, Christina Applegate, along with Selma Blair, giving people a more visual, a more public image of what multiple sclerosis is such a huge contribution to the MS community. And I cannot thank you enough for doing this. I've got to say, I was a huge fan of yours before you even came out with MS. So when you did, I was amazed. Gina, yeah, so glad you got that wrist tool. I'm guessing you have one as well, right? Yeah, anyone who suffers from tremors, I've got to say, do consider getting one of these. They may be cumbersome, but they do help. It's something that I don't always put on, but as I said, I just reach out to wherever I'm keeping it, put it on when I realize that the symptoms are acting up too much and I need to do something that requires a little bit of precision. Kira Pal, you remain numb. Well, please leave me a comment and explain what kind of numbness this is, and I'll see if I can help you. And Michael Stevenson, I was diagnosed May 2021 with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. I'm not getting relapses, but walking and balance getting worse. Worried it is progressive. Wow, well, Michael, I have to say that I hear you. I am experiencing the same, and I have relapsing remitting as well. But as I said at the beginning of the video, things are just getting worse. And this is also part of the reason why I was feeling so depressed and helpless. But whether it's getting secondary or not, I asked my doctor, is this secondary progressive MS? And they replied, who cares? That was literally the answer. Who cares if it's secondary progressive? You're getting the best medication out there. You're getting the best treatment available. And it's no different than for relapsing remitting. So just carry on with it and accept whatever it is. On that, I also wanted to mention that I wanted to make another video about secondary progressive MS and relapsing remitting MS, and for that matter, primary progressive MS as well, because I have been reading research that gives you a different perspective on these three subcategories of multiple sclerosis that are now being redefined, and they're not as independent from each other as we were initially led to believe. That's my perspective. But as I said, this is coming up in another video, which I'll be making next week. So Michael Stevenson, do stay tuned. But please, just keep doing things the way you have until now. Keep taking care of yourself. Keep exercising. Keep taking your treatments, your disease-modifying treatment, and trust that you're doing the best you can, whatever you have. And Sophie, last comment. You are on the 7th season. There are 7 seasons, and The West Wing is a lovely show. Well, thank you for the recommendation. I will watch it. I will watch it. Ooh, and Michael has replied, I'm on the medication Tecfidera due to see a neurologist this month. See what he says. Do keep us posted, Michael. And just try to relax into the idea that they are doing the best they can for you, and don't freak out. Don't read things out there. Careful, very careful with reading stuff out there, for lack of a better word. There's a lot of misinformation, and the best I can say is just not to stress out looking for answers. So that is it for this live stream. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm very, very happy to be back. And next week, next Sunday, another video about secondary progressive multiple sclerosis, or what you want to call it. So I will see you again next Sunday, same time, 5 p.m. And take care, everyone. And see you soon. Bye-bye.